What's up, guys? It's your Money Cat here, and today we're going to be talking about Facebook. Lately, Facebook has been under fire for their apparent negligence towards hateful posts and hateful speech on their platform. So, many companies have been pulling out from Facebook, not advertising on its various platforms, aka boycotting Facebook. So, what does this mean to you as a stockholder? Should you boycott Facebook stock as well? Or will Facebook be fine and continue to go up higher? Let's talk about it. Well, first, just to recap, this whole boycott started with companies, outdoor companies like the North Face, REI, and Patagonia announcing their boycott from Facebook for the month of July. And then the snowball started rolling, and now you got much bigger names like Starbucks, Verizon, and Coca-Cola joining the fray. And as I'm recording this, now we learned that Target has also joined the boycott, as well as companies like Best Buy, and now the number is over 350 and counting in this group that is boycotting Facebook. Does this mean anything to Facebook financially? Well, not really. The top 100 brands that spend on Facebook spent a total of $4.2 billion in advertising on Facebook last year. Although that's a huge amount, that is only 6% of the platform's ad revenue last year. Most of Facebook's ad revenue is actually made up of small and medium businesses who actually need that advertising more so than the bigger name brands. I also question some of these companies' determination and motive behind this boycott, because some companies have come out and said, we are boycotting Facebook, but only until end of July, which is only really 31 days. I mean, come on, man, that's weak sauce. Like, I respect Unilever because they've come out and said, we're boycotting Facebook. We're not advertising on their platforms until end of this year, which is 6 whole months. Now that, alright, it's got some punch behind it. Like, okay, I see you, I respect you, you really mean it. But some of these companies that have come out and said, we'll revisit it at the end of July. Come on, like Facebook don't even care. Like, this is not even a sticky note for Facebook. Like, whatever, they'll come back. Other reasons these companies may be joining the boycott is they want good PR, and this is a good opportunity to do that, as well as really improve their brand image, saying that we don't stand for hateful speech and hateful posts. Some other companies have labeled it reassessing their marketing strategy and pulling their budget from all social media platforms. So maybe they're just using this opportunity to pull some of their budget back, because obviously no one is doing that well during this pandemic. So might as well, while saving some money, also use this opportunity for good PR. Overall, financially, I think Facebook is just way too good of a platform for marketing and advertising on. Just the sheer number of users on Facebook and its various platforms, as well as the ability to really target specific audience and demographics, and to be able to customize the advertisement towards each of those specific demographics. It is just too powerful of a marketing tool for any company to not use. On top of that, like I said, the companies or businesses that make up majority of Facebook's ad revenue, the small businesses, the medium-sized businesses, they actually may not be able to afford to not advertise on Facebook, especially when the business is hard. The big name companies like Coca-Cola, Starbucks, I mean, they really don't need to advertise that much because their brand is already engraved in people's mind. However, small businesses and medium businesses, they're not quite at that level yet, so they really rely on constant exposure to the public and constant advertisement to drive in those customers. So they may not be able to handle joining the boycott, thus not really hurting Facebook's bottom line. Just to look at how effective Facebook's reach is in terms of advertising, Facebook now has almost 2.5 billion monthly users. This is taken from January of this year. Facebook's other platforms, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, they all rank in top 6 or 7. So Facebook's here at nearly 2.5 billion. You got WhatsApp here at 1.6 billion monthly users. Facebook Messenger at 1.3 billion per month, and Instagram at 1 billion per month. Now, should you be worried about other social platforms maybe taking over this void made by Facebook boycott? No. I mean, look at this. Who's going to challenge Facebook? YouTube and Google is already there neck and neck with Facebook, right? And whoever has been advertising on Facebook, they have been advertising on Google and YouTube. Trust me. So who's taking over? Twitter? Snapchat? They just don't have enough size to take over, at least right now in the near future. So financially, I think Facebook is as safe as there is, even with this snowballing boycott happening. On the other hand, I think perhaps more importantly than Facebook's financial impact, I think is Facebook needs to protect its image, its brand. Because right now they're getting a lot of heat. They're getting a lot of negative publicity. And again, while especially in the long run, I do not think this will affect Facebook at all. And Facebook will be able to come back from it. I think at least in the short term, in the near future, it may stunt Facebook's growth in terms of stock price. And I think there's more risk to the downside than going up. So in conclusion, short term, I think Facebook brand has taken some damage from this, although not financially. And especially as this snowballs further, more and more companies join in, especially throw in a couple more big names, then I think there's room for much more downside than the upside. However, in the long run, businesses need Facebook more than Facebook needs these businesses. So in this war of attrition, Facebook will win out, and companies they must come back to Facebook and its platforms for that efficient and effective marketing strategy. So let's look at Facebook's stock chart and discuss where I think Facebook may be headed towards. All right, we have Facebook's stock chart here on 180 days. We don't need to see the whole thing. Let's zoom in here a little bit closer. This day right here is when the news first broke of companies boycotting Facebook for hateful posts. This was just, I believe, the outdoor companies mainly, your North Face, REI, Patagonia, and you can see the stock didn't really do much, but the next day, a lot more companies joined in, a lot more bigger companies joined in, and the stock just tanked, blowing through 1, 2, 3 support lines in one day. For sure, on the news, Facebook deserved to go down in stock price, but blowing through 3 supports and dropping nearly 10% over a day, that was a big overreaction, or too fast. So Facebook dropped about 11%. Then over the next 2 days, Facebook has gone up 8.5% or so. So where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us in the middle of nowhere, unfortunately. The initial down movement was way too big of an overreaction. And I think this recovery actually is also a too much of overreaction. I truly won't feel comfortable with going into Facebook again until Facebook clears for sure at least at this level right here, which is around 232, 233. And then once it clears this resistance near at 240, right? I mean, that is pretty much near all-time high. Then for sure, I would feel much more comfortable that Facebook is headed in the right direction. But until then, I just don't feel comfortable enough to put more money into Facebook right now. I still see a little bit more downside here because I feel this upward recovery was an overreaction to the overreaction, if such thing exists. Today, I was actually expecting Facebook to come up to this trend line right here and fail and possibly go down below this support level. But it kind of didn't. I don't know. It's still around there. If we, let's zoom in a little bit to a 10-day chart. So right here. Yeah, Facebook is literally right at that trend line. So whether it breaks up or fails and goes down, we shall find out probably tomorrow. But if it does fail, then I actually see it going all the way down to this low right here, which is about 206, or perhaps even farther down to 200, which is where the next support line is. I would feel much more comfortable going into Facebook if Facebook proves to break up at least above this local resistance line at 233 or so. Then yes, then I can see it going up, maybe testing this 240 level, bouncing around here, but ultimately going up. Because if it stays in this area, then I think it's safe to say that this boycott thing didn't really pan out as the companies wanted to. But until then, I will be waiting for Facebook to drop a little bit lower, or just wait until there is a true confirmation that Facebook is on the way to recovery. Well, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about Facebook. If you think it'll drop further down or if you think it'll go up in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next time.